Welcome to a new edition of 30 Minutes, the interactive program of Trust Television with me, Manir Dan Ali. Our guest today is the former governor of Kaduna State and one-time minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mallam Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai. Mallam Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai, welcome to our program today.
Thank you, Manir, for inviting me.
You seem to be, is it a wall that is away, maybe without leave, because you seem to have gone quiet for quite a while, and I wonder what's happening, or is it like your party full of sound and fury and maybe yet to take shape?
No. Since my construction industry days, I always close down in December and parts of January. I usually take at least 6 weeks holiday every year. It's the only time I get a long break. 2025 has been a very stressful year for me personally. So I decided to shut down at the end of November. I left the country. And my plan was to remain outside the country until the end of January to take 2 months off. So that is why. But just as I was preparing to return, I got a mix of bacterial, viral, and malarial infections at the same time, which hospitalized me for 5 days. So I had to get that out of the way before coming back. But I'm fine now. I'm done. And very soon I'll be on my way to Nigeria.
Just today, some members of your party, including Mr. Peter Obi and others, joined a protest at the National Assembly over the current big issue, this electronic transmission of results during election. Where do you stand on that matter?
It's unfortunate I have not been able to return to Nigeria before today. I would have joined Mr. Peter Obi and other party leaders in protesting to the National Assembly to restore the real-time and mandatory transmission of results from the polling unit. It is the only way we can stop the manipulation that goes on in the collation centers. That is where the real rigging takes place. Rigging doesn't take place in the polling unit. It is in the collation centers. And this provision, which has been passed by the House of Representatives, but sadly being frustrated by the Senate, would have improved the quality of our elections. But we all know why the ruling party and the sitting government doesn't want that, because they know they can't win the elections. And the only way they have a fighting chance is to be able to manipulate the results after people have voted. So I would have joined them if I was in Abuja. I would have joined them. I would have been with Mr. Peter Obi.
How do you think it will pan out, given the fact that the Senate itself, or at least its leadership, appear to have dug into their position, because there are already claims by the minority members of the Senate that what they agreed on was not what was passed? How do you think all this could be sorted out at the end, since the Senate itself says it is reconvening tomorrow over the matter?
Well, I think the conference committee will make its recommendations first. I am confident, looking at the composition of the conference committee and the integrity of a majority of its members, they will recommend the restoration of the provision for the real-time transmission of results from the polling unit. So I think the conference committee will resolve this in favor of the people of Nigeria, because this is about the people of Nigeria. It's really not about elections or about APC or ADC or any other party. It's about giving Nigerians the opportunity to vote for whom they want, and that result should not be subject to any manipulation. So I am confident that the conference committee will recommend restoration. Now it is up to the Senate, well, particularly the Senate president, because I think majority of the senators also want the same. The majority of the senators are gentlemen. They want Nigeria to move forward. They are distinguished former governors, former ministers, and former representatives. They are distinguished people that want to see Nigeria make progress. And I think the Senate will overwhelmingly outvote their presiding officer, because let's be clear, it is not the Senate here that's the problem. Akpabio, who is a scumbag by every definition, is the problem. And Akpabio is nothing but
that wouldn't be, I mean, the
Asiwaju's
kind of work you should do.
lapdog. That's what's going on. And the senators will have to come together and protest and prevent that from happening when they reconvene.
But Mr. Akpabio himself will also protest on the use of your choice of word to describe him. He may have his issues, but certainly it's good to stay within the limits in terms of describing maybe distinguished people like him, don't you think?
I do not consider him distinguished. We've known each other since the 90s. He knows how far we've been through, and I think I'm qualified to call him a scumbag, and he knows why.
Can we move on to the larger picture? You earlier said that it is the ruling party that is against this whole thing because, as you allege, it could lose the elections. But are you also not considering the fact that the president will have to assent to this before it becomes law? How do you think that could happen if what you earlier said is right?
Yes, what I said is absolutely right. And my sense is that when the National Assembly overrides Akpabio and includes this provision, the president may withhold assent, in which case it will come back to the National Assembly for them to exercise their two-thirds override, to override his veto. I think that will happen because I think the voice of Nigerians is very loud and clear as far as the National Assembly members are concerned. And for their own self-preservation, they must preserve this provision for the real-time transmission of results from the polling unit using electronic means. It's for their own survival. It's for the survival of this democracy.
But others may not be as hopeful as you are, given what this same National Assembly has done over many issues, like the way it changed the national anthem, the way the tax laws were passed, and all the controversy about actually what is the version that has been gazetted and all of that. There has been no clarity on this all-important issue. So how do you expect it to be any different over this matter of almost life and death, that is winning or losing an election?
Because we're in election season, and 2 years ago, they can change the national anthem in 5 minutes. Last year, they can play games with the tax reform bills. But now they know that 2026 is the year of preparing for elections. It is the year that candidates will emerge, and Nigerians are watching, and Nigerians are angry, and Nigerians will punish them if they go the way that Akpabio and Tinubu want. This is my hope. I am optimistic. I have confidence in the self-preservation instincts of the members of the National Assembly to do right for once in this last 3 or 4 years. This National Assembly will go down in history as one of the least performing unless they get this electoral bill done properly. And it affects them. It affects them fundamentally, and they know it. They don't want to be left to the mercy of governors and the president to decide who returns to the National Assembly or not. If you know that you're grounded, you have the support of your people, you will want to support this bill because you will win your elections at polling unit. You don't want the president or Akpabio or anybody changing it at the ward collation or local government collation center. So it's a matter of self-preservation, Manir. That is why I'm hoping that they will do the right thing. But yes, people have the right to be pessimistic, but I am perpetually optimistic when it comes to Nigeria.
What about the little matter of the role of your party that is like being seen as the main opposition party now with the crisis in the other party, the PDP? Why is it that it looks as if you lost the plot? We are on the verge of an election, and we don't seem to have that kind of inspiration and confidence that there is an alternative government sitting somewhere. It seems more like an alternative platform for other sets of politicians to grab and use power in Nigeria.
Yes, there is that concern. I can assure you, even within the party, we have these discussions. We're worried about the silence on the part of the party, where we compare it with when we formed the APC, because I was there as at the forefront. APC was firing on all cylinders the moment it was formed. But this party It's not a coalition of several parties. It's a coalition of individuals. So it is taking time to settle, taking time to form. A lot of background work is being done. A lot of outreach at the grassroots is being done, which may not be in the media or may be visible to people. But I assure you, our party is the preferred party for Nigerians. We have carried out polls that show that very, very clearly and decisively. And the issues that we have about presidential candidates and so on will all be resolved within the next a few weeks. We have just launched membership registration that will go very smoothly. As soon as we do that, we'll do the congresses and convention to replace the leadership that we inherited. And then the real party will come to the surface. I assure you, Manir, that our party is working, it is organizing quietly, not like APC did noisily in 2014, but we are doing that. And I assure you that this Tinubu government will go back where it came from, whether it is Lagos or Lagoon Island or wherever, they will go back by the grace of God in 2027.
But you also know that the optics do matter, and communication is very important in politics, especially on the eve of an election where people maybe may not be too impressed with the sitting government, but they have to see a clear alternative. And so far, they are not seeing
Absolutely.
exactly that. You did admit to yourself that it's not like when you formed the PDP, the APC, where it was so clear
they will,
that it
and they will.
power.
Yes, they will, Manir. They will. The campaign timeline embedded in the 2022 Electoral Act is rather long. It favors the incumbent that has a lot of money. We are a coalition that is coming together, and unlike the sitting government that is a party of thieves, we are a coalition of the willing, and we don't have the resources or even a fraction of the resources that they have. So the kind of spending on media or social media and optics that you expect, you'll not see from the ADC for now. But I assure you, as I said, we are approaching this from a different angle. We have a different strategy. We are not going to do what is business as usual, but I assure you, we are organizing, we are planning, we are strategizing, and we are going to give Nigerians that credible alternative. We are going to offer Nigerians an ethical government. We'll provide for them a manifesto that they can relate to, that works for the people. And by the grace of God, that energy, that momentum that you have been waiting for will happen within the next few weeks by the grace of God.
But then, how do you mobilize people? How do you get people to begin to align with you when you are keeping things maybe close to your chest? Maybe you are not communicating very well.
No, Manir, we are mobilizing.
Maybe when even elections,
we are mobilizing.
there is going to be an election
most
in the
of the
FCT,
work being done, okay,
we don't see much of
there is work being done on several layers. We are mobilizing. We are mobilizing very, very aggressively at the lowest levels, at the polling unit ward levels. Ask members of the National Assembly from the APC if they can visit their constituencies. Only a few can visit their constituencies. And when they visit, they need crash helmets because people are angry. They are going after them. That's why many of them cannot go home for weekends or to their constituencies. We are mobilizing. The people are there. We have tapped into the dissatisfaction and the anger. We are mobilizing at that level. And
yes,
at the top level, we are preparing. We are working on our manifesto, on our platform, and we're working on getting all our presidential aspirants, governorship aspirants, and other aspirants to come together and agree to a consensus that will have free and fair primaries, will not have zoning, will not have any of that thing, no consensus, no forcing anyone to step down. Everyone will be given the opportunity to contest, and whoever wins will be supported by all. This is what we've been working on two layers that I can tell you about. But if you don't think that the ADC has grassroots support, ask some of the National Assembly members to go to their constituency without a garrison of soldiers and police to guard them.
But then, are you mobilizing people to get violent with their representatives when they visit, which may not be exactly constitutional?
No. We are not mobilizing people to be violent. We are mobilizing people to ask questions. The members of the National Assembly have hefty salaries and allowances. They have constituency projects. What are they doing about them? Ask them simple questions. Why haven't you come to your constituency since you went to Abuja 2 years ago? Those are the simple questions. They are not violent. They are supposed to be civic discussions. But of course, when one side has armed policemen and so on, uh, the other side has to protect itself. But no, we are mobilizing people. We are tapping into the dissatisfaction, the incompetence, the false propaganda of this administration, and the extreme cronyism and tribalism that this administration has shown. We are tapping into that, and we're doing so quietly, silently, at the lowest levels of electoral significance. And APC is going to get the surprise of its life.
You mean even with all the governors that have been lining up to join the party? Because you see, all the governors of the opposition parties have all, maybe
Yes.
except for a few, now crossed over to the ruling party. Isn't that a cause for concern? Because it means they have, in quotes, all the structures of politics in Nigeria, while maybe you have only the structure of possibly talking and what have you.
Yes. I think the governors are making two fundamental mistakes. The first, on a spiritual level, those of us that are Muslims or Christians who believe that power comes from God, not from Tinubu, not from anybody. God gives power to whom he wants, when he wants, and takes it away from him or her. So it is God that gave them power, but they have come to assume that it is APC and Tinubu and their rigging that will give them power. That's the fundamental mistake number one. The second mistake is this thinking that, oh, we have resources, we have money, we have police, we have INEC. And I've said this to Tinubu's people, ask Goodluck Jonathan what he didn't have in 2014 when we organized and got him out. And thirdly, Manir, I was a governor, so I'm speaking from experience. As the governor of Kaduna State, I was a leading APC member. I fought very hard for my party to win every election at all levels. Tinubu lost, even though I was one of his strongest supporters. He didn't win Kaduna. We lost 3 Senate seats. We had 2 Senate seats before. We lost them. I was a sitting governor. I couldn't prevent that. There's a difference between governors and the voters. The governor has only 1 vote. And when the time comes, the people of Nigeria will show what is happening very clearly, in my view. And we are encouraging them. Let all the governors move to APC. It's very good because it defines clearly what 2027 is all about. It is the people, the gang of thieves, those that have been stealing from Nigeria's resources since 2023, versus the people of Nigeria, and we will see who will win. I have no doubt in my mind who will win, Manir. They have been stealing money, they have been stashing away money, they have been doing this, but at the end of the day, the people of Nigeria will win. Nigeria will prevail. Because tyranny does not last forever.
I would like to ask you, how or why did you fall out with Tinubu, given the way you were putting yourself out there to ensure that he became the candidate of your party, then the APC, and all of that, all those meetings that you are like spearheading other governors then to do. And then here you are now sitting out as one of the main opposition people to Tinubu. What is it that broke the relationship?
You see, first of all, yeah, look, I think it's important to make this clarification. I like your question because there is an assumption that I was ever Tinubu's friend. I was not. We never got along with Tinubu. Okay, we never had a personal relationship. We never had a prior relationship like the one I had with General Buhari of blessed memory. Okay, so I want everyone to understand that. For me, Tinubu was initially an aspirant of the party, and I was approached by certain Islamic stakeholders from the Southwest and asked to support the emergence of a Southwest Muslim presidential candidate. That was how even the discussion started. And
But you
for
are so
me,
upfront
as governor
about
of
it.
Kaduna State and as one of the founders of the APC, I knew that we had an understanding with the South, or specifically the Southwest, that after 8 years of Buhari, power will go to the South. It was a matter of principle. I stood for that. It wasn't about Tinubu. Tinubu just happened to be an accidental beneficiary of that. Now, as soon as Tinubu won the primaries, it is a principle of mine that I fight for the candidate of my party in every election to win, whether I like the candidate or not. It's not whether I like Tinubu or not. The fact that he emerged as the candidate of the party, for me, I would give everything to ensure that he won. And that's what I did. Now,
So is it
I
not
don't
the
think
issue
we
of
fell out
the
with Tinubu,
spoils of
okay?
power that
We
you
we
fell
fell
out
out,
with him?
we didn't fall out with Tinubu. We just could not find areas of agreement. Okay, there was no equilibrium. We couldn't agree. I'm a different kind of person. I am in government for different reasons. I am a public servant, and I believe that public service should be about delivery, about results and performance. It's not about making money for yourself. It's not about stealing. It's not about appointing your cronies. It's not about appointing your tribesmen and women. Even if the offer that Tinubu made to me, which he publicly appealed to me to take up, to be a minister in his cabinet, even if that had gone through, I would have left the government long ago, because the philosophy of this government is contrary to everything that I have been taught as a Muslim, as a Northerner, as a Nigerian, to stand for public good. These guys don't care about public good. They didn't come to govern. They came to enrich themselves, pure and simple. So we are different people. So it should not surprise anybody that knows me and knows Tinubu to see that we are parallel lines that will never meet.
Let's talk about godfathers and godsons. Your own godson, the sitting governor, you fell out. The more recent
He
one,
is not my godson. He is not
the
my
more
godson.
recent one is the Kwankwaso versus Abba Gida Gida. They've also fallen out. So it's a one time maybe godfather in quotes, maybe the G in small letters. What is it that makes godfathers and godsons, even if they are adopted sons, to fall out?
Look, let me tell you something a former military president told me when he was in office. He said to me, you know, this thing called power is a very interesting thing. He said, even if your son gets to sit in this chair, and he showed me his chair in Dodam Barracks where he was sitting. He said, even if your own son, biological son, gets to sit in this chair, the first day you come, he will come out as your son and kneel down and greet you. The second day, he will sit in his seat. The third day, if you don't greet him respectfully, bad things can happen. This I learned in my 20s from a former president of Nigeria, a sitting president then. So I have never believed in Godfatherism. Never. And I was an outspoken opponent of it. I even went to Lagos and I answered questions about Godfatherism that led to attacks from the nation. The Tinubu wolves, went after me because they thought I was talking about him. But I was talking about a principle. When you have power, exercise it for public good. When you're done, leave. Please, Manir, I want to challenge every Nigerian to go and check my record. When I left BPE, I did not even go back to visit there till after 23 years. And that was because I was doing a PhD research. I had to interview somebody in BPE. Since I left the FCT, I have never gone there to see anyone until my former classmate, Mohammed Musa Bello, became minister. And he personally invited me to come. When I do a job, I do it, I move on. I don't care about my successor. I don't want to control my successor. And if you look at many videos in Kaduna before I left office, I made it repeatedly clear to Ubasani before his election and after that as soon as we get you elected, we hand over, I'm gone. I will not even visit Kaduna for the first 6 months to give you space to settle down and carry the burden of your office. I'm not interested in being a godfather. I don't want to control anybody. I don't care.
But
Now, the cases of
why is it
Kwankwaso
then your relationship has kind of soured?
and Tinubu and the governors in Lagos may be different. But in the case of Kaduna, it was not a case of godfatherism. I was never there. I didn't care what Ubasani did after I left Kaduna. I've done my bit. Unless he calls me and asks me for advice or counsel, I told him I will never even call you. And I've never called Ubasani since I left office.
Has
Never,
he been
not
calling
once.
you?
He's,
Has he been
he,
calling
he
you?
is the one to call me if he wants to talk about anything. Other than that, I move on with my life. I have enough things to keep me busy. I don't need to be looking after someone that I have brought up.
Has the governor been calling you? I mean, the Kaduna
I
governor.
don't recall the last. I don't even remember the last time he called me. It must have been more than two years ago, closer to 3 years ago.
So your relation has kind of soured or at best cooled off very maybe badly?
We have no relationship.
So then, if you can translate your experience to what has happened in Kano, have you had cause to speak to Kwankwaso and maybe advise him on what to do best, given what has happened between him and the governor?
Look, context matters, okay? I can relate to you about everything in Kaduna. I can give you the context. I can tell you, I can give you facts and figures. I don't know what happened in Kano. I honestly don't have access to both of them to ask them questions. And even if I do, I frankly would not want to go into that. These things happen in politics. It's normal. Don't be surprised if a year from now they reconcile. These things happen, but I don't think there are parallels between what happened in Kano with what happened in Kaduna, because as I said, context matters. Every situation is different. And unless you have all the facts, you should be very slow in making judgments.
Thank you very much, Mallam Nasir Ahmad El-Rufai, for coming on to 30 minutes.
Thank you, Manir. I hope to be in the studio when I return to Abuja, which is very, very soon, by the grace of God.
That is a promise that will keep you on.
Absolutely.
When you do
Absolutely. Absolutely. With you, there is no need for promise. You know, you ask me, I will do it because you are Manir Dan Ali, and I have great respect for you.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Viewers, that's the end of this edition of 30 Minutes. Keep a date with us.